orange. Okay, it says that we are live. The button is orange, so I guess we're good. Hey, this is the Bold Team. We're live, as we always are, every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And whoever invited you here tonight has given you the link so you can chat with us in the chat box. And tonight we're going to be talking about decisions. We're going to be exploring all kinds of ways of making decisions and why we make them and the effects of them and so on. But first, everybody's going to introduce themselves. And Jamie, you're up first.
Oh, I'm muted. I'm so sorry. I was like, wow, me first? Usually it's always Carol. Anyway, Jamie Donnelly, internet mogul from New Jersey. And I stated before we got on here, I made the decision to be on here tonight. And Dani backed me up. It was a really good decision. So happy all around.
That's right. So next to Jamie is Ellie.
Hi, Ellie Walsh. I live in upstate New York. Decision on the other end of the house from Carol. She'll say hello probably last this time. You know, here we are, online marketers talking about decisions. We made a decision to get us here. We make a decision on a daily basis. We make a decision on Tuesdays to show up. It's all about decisions. And I love this topic because it's time for people to understand where their decisions are coming from. So you know I have a lot to say, right? All right, I'll shut up now.
You're all over that one. Okay, Catherine, you are up next. Can't hear you, Catherine. No, you're still muted.
She's got to do the same. We didn't check her. Yeah,
okay, do the same thing that I did. Go to your settings
gear.
Go
into that gear up at top and check your settings.
Talk? No? Okay, we're having technical difficulties with Catherine. Catherine, if you can hear me, go to your gear on the top for your settings. Oh, she's going to jump off and come back on again. So why don't we go ahead and talk to Carol then?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All righty. As Ellie said, we're at the opposite ends of the house from each other. So I am also in upstate New York. Otherwise, it would be an awfully big house. I am an internet marketer as well. And yeah, this is interesting. Interesting for people who are in business for themselves in terms of making decisions, people who are employees in terms of making decisions, people who are housewives, husbands, making decisions, all different scenarios. So this should be an interesting topic. Thank you, Dani.
Okay, and Catherine, can we hear you now?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yay, we can hear you.
Okay, well, I'm Catherine from California, and I've been an internet marketer for about 2 years, and I'm really excited about this topic on decisions because that's a big part of going online and doing your business and things like that. Your whole life is full of decisions anyway. So that's a great topic, Dani, so can't wait to hear it.
Awesome. Okay, and I didn't introduce myself at the beginning here, I guess. I am Dani Cloutier. I'm in Ontario, Canada. I'm the only foreigner tonight. And we're going to talk about decisions. And one of the reasons I picked this topic is because right now I am going through Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. And it's such a great read. And the very first thing that he talks about is decisions and the power of them. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to be looking at my screen a little bit, cheating. I have some notes in my blog and that. So what Tony says, first of all, I just want to start off with this quote is, I believe it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And I think that's absolutely true because everything that happens in your life, good or bad, began because of the decisions that you made. And you know, that makes a lot of us kind of cringe because, you know, we don't want to admit that we made the decisions that screwed up a part of our life or whatever. But it's a really simple truth. We all have to make decisions. There's a stat somewhere that I just read just a few days ago that said we make somewhere up to a dozen decisions before 9 a.m. every day, and we make somewhere between 70 and 80 decisions every single day. Now, some of these decisions might be, you know, to turn left or turn right when you're driving to work or to the grocery store. Those are automatic. Those are decisions you no longer have to think about because you've done them so often. But the decision that you have to, the decisions that shape your life have to begin with some thought. You have to be looking at what your desired outcome is. And one of the things about decisions that I learned that I thought, you know, it's so basic, but you don't think about these things until sometimes they're pointed out to you. And that was what Tony Robbins said, was that the only reason we make decisions in our lives is to gain pleasure or to avoid pain. And it's absolutely true. It's just as plain and simple and basic as that. It really and truly is. So every decision you make in your life has an impact somewhere down the line, right? Your life, your decisions. And you know, the decisions you make today, they're shaping who you will be and who you will become in the future. So really, your circumstances and your conditions in your life aren't the problem. And, you know, when you're thrown, when you have a harsh truth like that thrown at you, maybe your life isn't going so well, you think, well, why would I put myself in this position? Why would I make a mess like this? Why would I decide to screw up my own life? But it's the choices that you make along the way that bring you to wherever you are today. That is the way it is. So your conditions and your circumstances really have nothing to do with your decisions. What I mean by that is you can come from a lot of advantages and do nothing in your life. Or you can come from some really shitty circumstances and do incredible things. And the only difference is the distinction between the decisions that those two people make. Okay? And the distinction being the decision has to have a commitment that prompts you to take action. So basically, a real decision hasn't been made unless there is action flowing from that decision. And it has to be able to carry you to whatever it is that you're looking to achieve, whatever that goal is. So you actually have the ultimate power within yourself to change your circumstances. It doesn't matter what they are. Because when you think about it, we've all heard so many stories of people overcoming some really huge obstacles in your life, not just living paycheck to paycheck kind of obstacles, but real obstacles like paraplegics and quadriplegics doing incredible things, not even thinking about what their circumstances, not sitting and having a pity party, but instead making solid decisions that are going to impact themselves and others in their lives. So you have to decide that you want to make a commitment. You have to make a commitment if you're actually going to make a decision. You have to commit to it in order for that decision to be real. So the people who have had less desirable circumstances and rose from them, they decided that their current circumstances, their current situation wasn't going to get in their way in any way, shape, or form. They made decisions and then they took action on their decisions. So what I got from this is it's not the conditions of our lives that determine our destiny, but rather the decisions we make that shape our destiny. So, you know, this question I ask myself, where do I start when I want to make a decision, when I want to start making better decisions in my life that's going to bring me down a better road? The question I ask myself is, where do I start? How do I do that? So instead of letting life take control, circumstances take control of your life, you want to kind of grab onto them and decide that you're going to now control your circumstances. Okay, and so the first decision that you have to make is to simply make more decisions. Tony Robbins states that the more decisions you make, the better you get at making them, which is true of anything. You know, practice, 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 and eventually you're a star. Practice that decision-making muscle that you have and practice it often, like every single day. The next thing you want to do is, sorry, I got a frog in my throat. I'm going to take a drink. Okay, sorry. So the next thing you want to do is be aware in every decision that you make that there's going to be consequences. Every decision you make is going to have a consequence. It's going to set in motion a set of circumstances that is going to result in good or bad, depending on your decision, whatever it is that you made. So if it's a crappy decision, and you realize that partway through it or at the end of it you have a crappy result, then learn something from that. Learn that, you know, that decision was a bad one, and how can I make a better decision? So the next thing you want to do is make every decision with a purpose. Know what your desired outcome is and ask yourself if your decision is going to lead you towards the desired outcome. And how's it going to make you feel along the way? That's an important question to ask yourself too, is if a decision doesn't feel good in your gut, it probably isn't the right decision, period. I say that no matter whether it's life or whether it's business. Be committed to the decisions that you make, not just interested. You can't say, you know, I'd like to be rich. You have to commit to becoming rich. So you can't just have an interest, yeah, I'd like to have a lot of money. You have to make the commitment to say, okay, I'm gonna have a lot of money and this is how I'm gonna do it. That is a decision that prompts action out of you when you commit to it. So there's a distinct difference, obviously, between interest and commitment. The commitment leads you to the action and makes it a great decision. So again, I'm going to reiterate this. No real decision has been made until action flows from that decision. So I am going to open up the panel to these ladies because I know, especially Ellie, I know you guys have a lot to say on this topic. So I'm going to open it up.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a minute. I have a lot more to say, but we'll just start as devil's advocate. If I make a decision to not do something, what's the action?
Well, that would be inaction and no commitment. So you've made a decision to sit in your ass and do nothing. And again, that goes right back to what Tony says. No decision has really been made until action flows from it.
Yeah, well, I hear that, but
yeah,
you know, all right. But if I make a decision, I'm not going to do that anymore. There's no action there.
Well, okay. Maybe make a decision to quit smoking. So that's something you're not going to do anymore. Is that what we're talking about here? Something as simple as that?
No, I'm not talking about quitting smoking.
We're talking about just not doing anything.
I mean, I have to play with that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, where are you going with that, Ellie? What's your train of thought?
You know, I mean, I heard what that was said, but I don't, you know, the decision's not made until there's an action. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. I'm not.
I mean, right? If you make a decision, you have to take an action in order to make the decision come to fruition. No?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And really, it's not a decision until you do take action, because up until then, you're getting ready to make a decision.
It's like a thought.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm,
something like that.
interesting.
Oh, Ellie's tight-lipped tonight. I don't know what that's
Yeah,
about.
I'm shocked. I'm
Uh-oh,
really,
she's
really
gonna unleash.
shocked.
Let me get mine out. Let me get my piece out so that she can unleash later and just let it go. But it's actually really hard to hear that your decisions, like, you have to own those decisions and own that there are circumstances that directly come from a decision or a consequence. If I don't know if every decision equals a consequence, but it's certainly something happens, right? You know, and that's sometimes a little hard to swallow, I think, to take that kind of ownership of decisions, especially when you're not where you want to be and you don't want to blame yourself. Because nobody goes through that, right? Nobody goes, oh, how the hell did I get here? You know, who did this to me? You know, then
Yeah.
you have to just look right at yourself, because really, ultimately, even if like, if I was on here and really unhappy about being here right now, which I'm not, I'm just saying that if I was on here and I was really unhappy about being here, it's not your fault. It's not anybody else's fault. It's my fault. I made a decision to be here, right? I could have not been here, you know, or if I chose every day to procrastinate on the things I need to do in order to grow my business, and then in a month, 2 months, 3 months, I'm not where I want to be, and I'm going, what's
That's
with
kind
it?
of a form of decision, is procrastinating, because you're kind of
Yeah.
deciding not to do
Not
anything,
to do it.
not to take action, Ellie.
Yeah, that's the decision that you made, and you're gonna have to pay for that. That consequence might not come tomorrow or today, but it's gonna come, because that the wheels are in motion, the ball's rolling, right? As a result of your action, which was a result of your decision. Oh no, Ellie, here we go again. We're coming right back to that. But it's really hard. But I love Tony Robbins, by the way. I think he just makes, I don't know, he was my first real personal development person I ever listened to in my early 20s, and I thought, oh, this guy's a genius. You know, he throws water in people's faces in order to break patterns, you know, and what is this NLP stuff? And I thought it was really wonderful. But sometimes it's just a little bit of tough love. And I think that owning your decisions and owning the results of those decisions, and learning to make decisions with an outcome in mind. Because often we're just like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. I'm going to jump off this high dive. I've never, oh, damn, you're driving. There's a rock down there, you know? I should have looked at that before I made the jump. You know, I should have thought this through. If you don't see it through, then you're kind of making a really hasty decision, but it's hard. It's hard to, I had to swallow a couple times hard when you were talking, because I was like, oh man, Dani's bringing it, and she's bringing it to me, because, you know, I'm feeling that right now. Like, that's speaking to me right now.
Yeah, and see, it's speaking to me too, and that's the whole reason why the subject, you know, it's the same with me. But you know, you do, like you said, you gotta own that shit, because if you don't, you're not gonna get anywhere.
Who's doing the picture of Dani with the quote on it tonight? You've got to own that shit. I think that's the takeaway from tonight's meeting. But it's awesome to see. You know, I do believe that we teach what we most need to learn, and we can see when people do a live, or people do a video, or people do a hangout, and they have a choice of anything to do. They really are speaking from where they're at, and obviously you're at a place of feeling that this was a topic that's close to home, Dani?
Yeah, but I think it is for everybody, because it applies across the board, right? It's life, it's business, it's personal, it's work, it's relationship. It's all about decisions that you make. You can decide to, you know, go and visit your mom on a daily basis, or you can decide not to and miss the hell out of her when she dies. So you got to weigh those decisions every day. There's all sorts of them to make. Like I said, you know, that stat I heard about or read this week was like you make 70 or 80 decisions a day. You should put some thought into some of those decisions, right?
Yeah,
Back of them.
a lot of times you're making those decisions just like zombified, you know?
Yeah.
You're not really thinking it through.
And that's it. You have to think about if you're really committed to learning from the bad decisions and making better decisions to create a better future for yourself, then you really have to stop and think through the decisions that you're going to make. But you can't sit and dwell on them, because if you're indecisive, that's not great either. Decisions seem to go better when they're swift. When they come from the gut and they're swift, they seem to have the best, or should I say better, impact. They're usually not negative. When you're wallowing in, oh, should I, shouldn't I, what do I do, what do I do? That is procrastination, that's overwhelm, that's fear, whatever you want to call it. It comes down to a fear of deciding and committing to something that you should be doing or should not be doing, one or the other. And you have to decide if you want to make the commitment or not. It's all about committing to yourself.
You know, just in terms of owning your shit, something came to my mind when I first got into this personal development stuff several years back. Ellie actually had introduced me to Abraham Hicks. Excuse me. And I remember Abraham used to say, if you did something good, you say, yes, I created that. Whoa. If you did something shitty, you can still say, yes, I created that. Look how powerful I am. So when something turns out not so good because of a choice or decision I made, not always, can't always pull that up, but I try my best to remember that, and it helps me to feel a little bit better about where I'm at. Or if I'm in the doldrums, it can help me pull myself out a little bit if I think about that, because it's true. You know, yes, we did do that. We made that decision. We made that choice.
And that's just it. It's the power behind that. It's the power, whether you did good or did bad, you have to, what that brings to you is that you're the one that created it. That shows you the ultimate power that you have in your own life to do anything, absolutely anything. If you can create shit, you can create angels. You know, it can go either way. So it doesn't matter. It depends on where you make your decisions and what you want to do with those decisions, where you want to go with them.
It's funny, we were on a call this morning and the fellow was saying that, excuse me, we were talking about circumstances before. Circumstances can be the reason why rather than the reason why not. So again, I mean, if you did create something shitty, it no matter how much power or control you had in the situation, and you find yourself in there, you still can turn it around. You don't have to stay in there. You don't have to say, well, you know, this happened because blah, blah, blah. That's the reason why. You could say, no, I'm going to make another decision now and turn it around. So, yeah, everything is, most everything that I can think of is changeable, is flexible. I mean, it's not written in stone.
Yeah, that reminds me of Marie Forleo's favorite saying, everything is figure-outable, which is true. Everything is figure-outable. And really, it's a matter of just deciding to commit to whatever it is that you want to figure out and you want to create too. That power is pretty cool when you realize that it's in all of us. And when you start noticing what you've created, it empowers you to know that you can do even better and better and better, which is a pretty cool place to be. Ellie, you're so quiet tonight.
I'm listening. I own all my decisions, and I don't think I made any bad decisions. I made some interesting decisions that have led me down interesting paths. But you know, I come back to that quote, and I don't even know if I'm saying it right. It's the way I heard it, though, many years ago. All right, that every human being does the absolute best they're capable of doing, given what's going on in their life at that particular moment. Period. So I can own them, and I cannot judge them, and that's huge. But the biggest thing, and you just were talking about it before, like, you know, on Robo, we are, you know, so we're on robotic. We're making decisions from old stories. And that's where the problem lies. Even that idea of procrastination, I don't like that word either, but we're making that based on old stories, all right? Even, you know, and of course, obviously, to decide not to make a decision is a decision. It's a decision, okay? So I think the biggest thing that most people don't realize is you're running on old information. And you have new information in front of you, and you're making decisions on old information. And unless you get mindful, you cannot make a decision based really on that information. You're coming from whatever's gone on in your life before. It's amazing. It's really scary when you think of how incredible the brain is. Maybe, I don't know if it's true if we really only use 10%, but I know people say that. And you think, well, we must, because we just stay in that robotic state, and we think we're so intelligent and articulate, okay, in the way that these intelligent thinkers, and we are mostly coming from old stories. So, you know, the only way to make a true decision of what's real is to first make that decision of, I'm going to change these stories, or I'm going to be aware of them. Once you're aware of them, they can still take you down that path, but not as easy. Not as easy. You haven't, sometimes you're halfway down the path and you're like, oh crap, here I go again. All right. You know, and you can come back. But I mean, you know, and that's the same story of why do people end up in the same kind of marriages, abusive and whatever. It's because it's based on old stories. It is. And those are decisions. They are decisions, you know, and nobody wants to hear that, but they are, you know, feeling like you don't have a decision. It's in essence almost a decision, because it's like a decision of giving up your decision making. We could really go down into this loop now, into the rabbit hole with decisions. But I mean, it's an interesting thing. It is. I refuse to say any of my decisions were bad. They were the best I could do at that point in my life. Okay. A year later, 10 minutes later, even, would I have done it different? Possibly, but it doesn't freaking matter, because this is what I did. This is when I did it. And if I can own that, I can continue to move on.
Good point.
It's a very good topic. And I was
that's a really good point, though. Really good point. But then there are those of us, and I was included in this until, you know, I started doing the personal development, but there are people who don't realize they have the power to make a different decision in the situation that they're in. And again, it's because of the story they've been told all their lives or are telling themselves. But you just don't know what you don't know. And when, you know, you don't. And when you realize there's this vast knowledge out there that could impact your own life and you decide that you're going to make a decision to learn about it, that's when your story changes, because that's when your beliefs start to change. And you start learning other people's stories and how they've made decisions that have changed their lives. And you realize, I'm not any different than Joe down the road, and look at what he did with his life. And that can be really impactful. I think it's a pretty cool thing when you realize that, and you start to develop yourself and start to realize that not everything that you have been taught in your world is absolutely true. It may have been true for you, as Ellie said, it's true for you then at that moment. But we all grow and change. I mean, we don't even have the same bodies that we did, 5 years ago. We all grow and change. We evolve. Every couple of years, we're in a whole new body. Our cells completely change. So evolving isn't the issue, but evolving your decisions and learning that you can be your own decision maker in a positive way in your life is a really empowered place to be. And can only lead you down a better road, as far as I'm concerned anyways. Anybody else coming out to play tonight?
A couple of things.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what Ellie just said, and she and I have had this discussion before. And yeah, there's truth to the fact that, you make the best decision that you can given what you have going on in your life at that particular time. That's true. But if you step back and look at it more from a bird's eye point of view, sometimes you end up in a situation because of the decision you made that is not the most desirable. Of course, you can make your adjustments and tweak as you go along. But I think my point is that, sometimes, I don't know whether it's a matter of semantics, whether you just want to not say that, I made a bad decision or whatever, but it certainly can lead to a situation that's not the most desirable. The other thing, I don't know quite how this fits in here, but somehow it must, because it came to my mind as you guys were talking. I saw Brene Brown, I don't know if you're aware of her, on Oprah's show, Super Soul Sunday. Oprah has her on a lot. I think they're good buddies. And she was talking about her latest book, which I've since read. Damn, I can never remember the names of these books. It's Rising something or another, or whatever it is. And she talks about our stories, and how we make decisions based on our stories, or create thoughts. Now, I don't know if that's it. I guess I've decided to think this, so I guess it is a decision. For example, somebody called you on the phone, and you're talking about, well, let's have dinner one night, and they said, no, I can't have dinner, and I can't have dinner. I can't meet you for dinner this Thursday. And you say, all right, and you hang up, and you feel bad inside, and you're thinking, what did I do wrong? Why don't they want to have dinner with me? What's the matter? Must be I said something wrong during our conversation or something. And come to find out, it wasn't that at all. It was the person had something going on that was rather private, and they didn't want to discuss it. But, they just said, no, I can't do it. So one who felt offended was contriving this whole story based on some crap that they're carrying around. And, unless you really take a look at yourself and say, well, maybe there's another reason why. It doesn't have to be that. Or you're just able to let it go somehow and say, well, whatever. Otherwise, you can carry this hurt around, and can change the nature of your relationship with different people based on on how you perceive things and what story you make up related to the particular situation, which could be way off base. So it's just interesting, I thought, anyway. And, you know, she talked about that in her latest book, whatever the name of it is.
No, that is interesting, though, but your stories do drive your decisions until you start learning that there's other stories that you can create within your life, right? So
Yeah,
it's all...
first you got to make a decision to start telling a new story.
See, decision, well, thought, decision, outcome, new story. Something like that, anyways. Go ahead, Catherine.
Yeah, what Carol, can you hear me okay? What
Yes.
Carol was saying just a minute ago hit home to me, because I think that way a lot. I worry about, not about people, my friends or anything, but like something else that comes up and we can't do something. I always think, or like if somebody goes away and they don't call or something, then I worry that something happened. And it's because of stories that have come out from before, from when I was younger, that's been, that's making me think that way. And it's not good, because I don't like that when you feel that way, because it's never true. It never comes true. It's always like, it's just something I've thought up in my brain, and doesn't come true. So, so I could see she hit home on something she just said. Yeah. I do that a lot, and I have to stop doing that. I have to think more before I worry about those kind of things. So, yeah.
Yeah, you have to think about how you're going to feel with the decision that you're going to make. Like some decisions, you're just going to go through your day and you're going to make them because they're minor. They're just part of your day. Maybe decisions that you make every day. You know, today I'm going to put cream in my coffee or whatever. You know, they're simple decisions. But when you have decisions that are going to impact your life somehow, or they're going to impact other people's lives, you have to really think about how those decisions feel, how they make you feel, and how they make other people feel. I mean, you don't want to be worrying about how everybody else is going to feel. That's what they own. They own their own feelings, so that's not your job. Your job is to make sure that you feel good and whatever decision that you make, and that it is a decision that is going to benefit not just you, but those around you. Okay, but I really believe that you need to make decisions that are going to carry a commitment with them if you want to make a change in your life. And I think that's kind of the kind of decision making that I guess that I'm looking at, is from, I'm looking at making different big decisions, big changes in my life to make my life better than where it is now. My life isn't crap, but I just want it to be better. I'm getting to a stage in my life where, boy, do I want it to be better. and it's coming, and I've been doing all this work towards it, and I just have to keep making the decisions daily that are going to continue with the commitment that I've made to make my life better. Simple as that. So the decision for you to join us tonight, I hope, was a good one for you tonight. I know it's only 20 to 9. If any of you have more to say on this, I mean, we could probably go on all night if we wanted to. Have you got anything more you want to jump in with, Ellie? Look at you. I see you giggling over there in the corner.
Yeah, no, I mean, you summed it up, and I was truly playing devil's advocate when we started. I like people to think when they come in here and listen. That number one, we don't realize how many decisions we make, because even deciding to not make a decision is a decision, and sometimes that's the thing you need to do. Right? If you're scattered and what have you, sometimes you need to make a decision. I'm terrible about making a decision what to eat. Carol knows that. I drive her crazy. I'm like, I don't care, whatever. And I don't know, maybe because I don't want to own it, whatever, or probably because I don't want to cook. So I'm praying to God she'll say something that she's going to cook, or she'll go down and buy something, in town, take out food. That's
You
what
sly
I'm
dog.
dealing with about. So I won't make a decision about food. And food is actually not a big deal to me. Now, no, wait a minute. I can't say it like that, all right? I'm picky. I'm very picky. I don't like a lot of ethnic food. I was raised in that very Irish meat and potato, and I stayed there. I'm the only kid that stayed there. The rest of them eat all kinds of food. I'm like, oh, no, I don't like that. I don't know if I like it. I never tried it. So it's the truth. I'm telling you the truth, you know. So it's not that important to me. There's some foods I really enjoy, but mostly I eat because you'll die if you don't. All right, that's why I eat. It's not a big deal. I like the gathering of a meal, okay, but this, like, I don't really care. Just, you know, I don't care. So it's not a big deal to me. So that's probably also why I'm just like, you know, whatever you want to eat.
That's really interesting. It doesn't matter to you. You just came right out and said that. It doesn't matter to me. You're not the kind of person who focuses on, like my daughter, she's all about food. She is a lover of any kind of good food. Oh, let me try that. Oh, I could go for some good food. You obviously don't do that. You just sustain yourself with food.
I say to Carol, we're at a banquet or something, and I say, what is that thing? And sometimes she knows, and sometimes she doesn't, you know, and she's like, I don't know, you want to try it? No. I said, I don't want to try it.
That's really funny. It doesn't matter to you, though. It doesn't matter to you to go and try different foods to see what the flavor is like. That's not your interest.
This is it. This is what I like. So I'm putting no damn
interesting.
food on my dinner. Okay, I'm really, like, don't even put a pineapple on my ham, okay? Do not do that. Sweets got nothing to do with dinner. So I want to say I'm actually rigid, obviously. You know, it's easy though. Just make mashed potatoes and a meatloaf or something, and I'm freaking happy.
That's really interesting, but it drives home the point that the decision has to matter to you. It really has to matter to you if it's going to move you forward in wherever it is that you want to go, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. So, you know, decision making, you're right. We don't realize how much we make them. We don't realize how robotic they are. There's a certain amount of decisions, even driving. All right. Because we actually have been trained in responses, even on how to respond when that happens, you know. And so I guess there's a decision in that moment. But, you know, it's those ones that are really bringing your life closer or further away from where you want to go. So if you're going further away from where you want to go, you really got to look at your decision making. And, you know, it's that stuff that we're so programmed into. So it's this right here, just talking about it. Because I promise you, anybody watching this tonight or watching the replay, in the next couple of days, they're going to be aware. It might not change anything, and they might not even admit it. There's going to be a little bit of a raised awareness level on some of the decisions they're making. And that's where you all start. I was never like this until I went down a personal development path. Absolutely is where. And then before that, I blamed everybody else's freaking fault. My parents, whoever was in my life, was their freaking fault. That my freaking life was a mess, okay? You know, and then finally learning that, okay, that's huge power, claiming responsibility for your life. You know, everybody's like, ooh, and I'm like, oh my, because it's like Carol said, it was like, yes, I did this great thing, and yes, I did this shitty great thing. It was great. It was, I think some of the crazy shit I did, I think if I could do that, oh my God, I could do anything. Okay. So, you know, it's making the decision to make more purposeful and mindful decisions in your life. That's what I'll end with.
Okay. And simple is simple, really. If you want to change your life, you have to make a decision to do it, and you have to commit to that decision. That is the bottom line. It is your decision 100%, 100%. So anyways, so that about wraps up our Tuesday night bold team hangout. Looks like we lost Jamie. She was already in her jammies though, so that's okay. But we're going to wrap this up and just, you know, I didn't even go to the chat, Ellie, to see who was around, if there were any questions tonight. And, oh, I love that Michelle put up your quote. And you did the best you could with what you had at the time. And it's absolutely, absolutely true. So make great decisions. You know, don't be fearful of decisions, but listen to your gut. Listen to your gut, because your gut tells you a lot. And if it feels good, then go for it, for sure. So in closing tonight, I just want to say we are all part of the Bold team. We meet here every Tuesday night for a live broadcast. We discuss decisions and all kinds of different things about our businesses. We're all entrepreneurs online, and we love doing this and helping other people. So if somebody invited you tonight to hang out with us on our regular Tuesday night hangout, then get back with them. If you want to leave some more anything in the chat there, any questions, we'll get back. We check throughout the week, and we hope you'll join us again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. same time, same channel. Different kind of hangout, but it's still a Google Hangout. And so everybody, have a great night. Make good decisions. Bye-bye.